The heroes found themselves standing in a strange stone room with a single chair overlooking the mirror into the material world. Yolanthe and Misku detected the sound of footsteps coming from outside the room and moving about the dark hallways. As the heroes investigated the seemingly endless hallways of rooms containing mirror portals between realms, Tess came upon a mirror to a fancy looking but currently unoccupied bedchamber. She pulled some documents from a desk on the other side and noted the name Craven Drac inscribed upon them. Clearly, this was the bedroom of the Dwarven Emperor himself. Should they travel through this mirror, surely the castle guard would immediately imprison the heroes. They continued on down the hallway. The next room contained a weird mirror that reflected their own images like a normal mirror should, strangely out of place for such a realm as the plane of mirrors. It seemed to be just a normal mirror until Tess noticed her reflection blink. Inspecting the mirror closer, she reached out and found that the mirror was also a portal, grabbed her own hand, and pulled her reflection through. One by one, each of the party members came through to the other side. After a brief exchange, the mirror party returned to their side of the mirror and went along their way. In the next room, Ian Fear spotted the Kenku Scriteau on the other side of the portal. He was leaving a small, derelict cabin in the center of dense woods. Scriteau looked back and saw Ian Fear, but chose to continue on his way. Following him, the party set up camp inside the shelter as they prepared to investigate this new realm. Welcome back to New Dalancia, our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign. I'm your host and most gracious DM, VGpunx, and boy, am I ready to rock. Okay, there's been a lot of planning that has gone into this episode, but before we get started, one really quick announcement. I would like to welcome Talanith to our table. Welcome aboard. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much.
Woo!
Be glad to be here.
For those of you tuning into for the first time, this is a bit of an unorthodox campaign, if you will. I like to run very large parties as opposed to the standard four that we see in normal D&D teams. So yeah, always seeming to loving to add new players and see how that works out. So we're really testing that 5th edition to its limits. All right. So as I mentioned before, you all had stepped through the mirror into this kind of derelict and old-looking cabin. Um, Ian Fair, you had seen Scriteau, who briefly made eye contact with you. You feel like he saw you. Like there was some eye contact for a moment before he turned around and continued on his way. All right. So let me address a couple of things that I needed to pick up from last time. Tess, you had previously stepped through a mirror into the. Let's see here. Okay, yes, you had stepped through a mirror into the. Um,
It was like a cabin, right?
in this, where you're currently at is the cabin, but
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
about the previous mirror that you had hopped through really quick to grab that journal
Oh,
off of
yeah.
that desk.
Okay.
So that journal, um, there's a couple of pieces to this that um, I would like to begin with. Firstly, there was a picture hanging on the wall of the bedchamber that you had stepped through. That picture is that didn't pop up. Oh wait, yep. Okay, hold on.
Craven Drac, right? I believe so.
Hold
Holding on.
on. Hopefully, this does not change this. And Tess, I've given you limited ownership of this journal as you're currently carrying it, but the picture that you wall is it really not showing that? Is it should be showing you the picture now, but it doesn't look like it is.
I'm seeing journal entries.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, we're gonna create a separate handout for this.
Spoiler alert. Oh, okay, there we go.
Yes. So that is the picture that you saw hanging on the wall. And you from reading the journal, you were able to discern that that is Craven Drac, the current emperor of the Dwarven Empire.
I just now realized I've been spelling the last name Drac wrong this entire campaign. The entire campaign I've been spelling Drac D-R-A-K and not C-H with my physical
That's okay.
notebook. But
That could be a Tessism, perhaps.
yeah, probably. Okay, so this was the dude that I saw in the portrait.
That was the dude that you saw in the portrait, yeah.
Okay.
As well as along with that, you collected this series of well, they're just a kind of a stack of papers. It wasn't like a full book or anything, but there are 4 journal entries that you were able um, to kind of pick up off that desk. And immediately, kind of perusing them, you notice the mention of Kemrim and Govin um, having been present. I guess we can do this kind of a couple ways. I can read these out loud if you'd like, um, or I can just kind of let you read through them at your leisure.
I guess it depends on what the rest of the party wants. Do they want to hear it from you or do they want to hear it from Tess?
If you hear it from me, I'm going to read it verbatim, but if you hear it from Tess, it'll be up to you to kind of interpret what these pages say to them. And you don't have to do that now by any stretch. You can do that, while we're at camp or whatever. They're not terribly long entries. It's like 4 of them. What do you guys think?
What
You
say
guys wanna hear it?
you, party members?
Well, in character, I think I don't know. Where am I?
Where am I?
Well,
Everybody-
because you're gonna get the feedback through the rat if the rat hears it.
That's right. So y'all are all so Healthiest. To answer your question directly, your character is on board the HMCV Unbroken Trust currently.
Correct.
You're getting all
But
of your
you-
information through your ferret,
Yes.
your weasel friend.
Yes.
So
His name is Thief.
you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and read the stuff. I just feel like it'll be easier that way. And then, Tess, you have access to these, so you can always refer back to them at any point.
Gather around the fire. Let Tess tell you a story.
Journal entry number 1. Kimrim and Govin Godbury arrived today as I requested. The 2 answered my questions about the Dentherum expedition succinctly. I learned that the documents brought up by Ambassador Thorbolt were left behind in the ruin, and that other articles of art and literature were donated to the Museum of Dwarven History. This is an agreeable arrangement, but I wish it hadn't been communicated to me by my predecessor. Govin clearly distrusts me, but that is not unexpected given his reports of the strange activities of my brethren. Regardless, if I feel that my house is being framed, offering him my sincerest desire to work with House Godbury in its investigation does little to rekindle his trust. Entry number 2. Kimrim is a passionate sort. I've come to know this quality among those of House Godbury that I've had the privilege of meeting. When she speaks, I find that even my guards are fully attentive. She has a brilliant mind and would be a great asset to House Drac if she were not so involved with our archaeology. Still, I would speak to my advisors to know if there is any way to divert resources, anything, from the front with Jindu while maintaining our aggressive stance to aid Malia. With so many of our ships disappearing these days and the spread of the disease, I fear for the safety of our shores. Entry 3. Kimram and Govan have departed today. Sadly, I was too busy to see them off. I've written a letter of thanks to Shopabin ahead of them, as Kimram mentioned that that was their destination, so that she could further look into this lost house at the libraries there. I do long for the freedom to travel that I once had. Imagine, Shopabin would be so beautiful this time of year. Green grass and the cool forests. Perhaps one day I'll be able to see it for myself if the war with Jindu ever calms down. One can only hope. Along the side of the page is a rough sketch of a forest with a cityscape faded into the distance, birds flying overhead. It's actually quite detailed. Journal entry number 4. I thought I saw something in my mirror this morning. I could have sworn I saw a figure standing right behind me, a bird like creature. It definitely had a beak. I must be exhausted after all the talks with Cameron and Govan the past few days. There's much work to be done on the Jinduan front. A scout has reported that another of our supply ships that were supposed to make port at Malia a week ago went missing. It seems we can barely supply the Malian front and manage our own stores. If Jindu is aware of this, it's only a matter of time before they launch a counteroffensive. In the bout with the disease here, we've received our first reports of the infected found within our own walls. I can only feel that I've failed my people. My advisors insist on rounding up all magic users for questioning, but I am reluctant to take that action as it would assuredly arouse panic across Godbury and Siuk. I will stay with my current course. I must hear word from Rakia if they have begun to see cases of the disease as well. If it has spread so far as Rakia, we may all be doomed. Regardless, we must do what we can to stymie the spread. We know that it is magically created, so magic must also be the cure. And that's all you've got. So, like I said, those are available to you within the journal. You can look at them at any point. Since you're currently carrying them. Um, I would also like to point out another thing, and this is actually for Ian Fear. Ian Fear, you were previously, before you ever even boarded the ship, you were given these books, these dwarven texts, to kind of go through and learn how to translate. So you've been hard at work translating um, this dwarven text, which I have given you also limited access to in the journal. I don't want to go through this one right now because it is a lot more backstory ish, um, or it's a lot more lore stuff. So I will let you read that at your own leisure. And yeah, it's not long. It's like 2 paragraphs, and I know that you um, probably not wanting to look at tiny text at current, so we can back burner that. Is not important to today's session at all. So, but that is there. Cool. I think that catches us up to where I'm at or where we're at today. Yes, I believe so. Cool. So, anybody, any questions about any of that? Any of that stuff?
Do I? Okay, so where was this? So Tess found the picture and the descriptions or journal entries, right?
Yes, Tess had previously stepped through this mirror and saw this portrait on the wall.
Okay.
And then the journal entries Tess has on their person. So I've given access to those entries to Tess at current. And then we can later put them into the rest of the party. But for now, Tess is carrying them. And then the other text is something that was given to Ian Fear by Kimrim to translate. So that's kind of a personal project for Ian Fear that he took on. So
Hmm.
right. Everybody else all good?
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, for everyone, let's see. Okay, so for everybody who has stepped through the portal into the cabin, in the air, there is only silence for the first time in weeks, save for the creaking of the cabin floor beneath your feet. Having come through the mirror into this strange place, the desolate cabin seems a bittersweet taste of home in a land otherwise alien. Derelict as it may be, the small living space offers a small wealth of amenities, a cooking range, oven, and hearth. From the sole window, a ruined castle sits forebodingly atop a giant cliff, and that ruined castle is right here. There's the picture of the ruined castle. You can see this clearly, um, sort of in the middle of this big forest, um, just out the window, directly across from the mirror.
Okay, I don't actually have a picture, but it does say the ruined castle.
Um, hmm.
Try reloading your page, maybe.
Yeah. Also, this should be. Let me go ahead and set everyone to limited on this one, so it should show up, I believe, in your. I'm gonna re-show it. Okay. Right there's the picture again. There are two pages. Yeah, there's the ruined castle, and then just a quick description of what it is. I just added that in so it isn't confusing.
Oh, where are the
Cool.
picture? Whoa, whoa, what's his tab? No, no, I gotta refresh the whole page, I think, or
You might
something.
need to pop open the journal and click on the ruined castle
No,
entry on the
I
journal.
can't. It completely went away. It's not. No, I got like a blue screen, except it's not blue.
Oh boy. Let me try one more time. Or oh, no, you're refreshing or
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think. Yeah, that's
technical
good.
difficulties. The lives.
Okay, just open. Go. What's going on? Come on.
So while we're waiting on that, um,
I lost the game.
as you spread out into the interior of the cabin, Valphalin peeks warily into the other room before he sits down upon a pile of furs spread upon the floor. He huffs a breath of fire into the fireplace and stokes the flame for a moment before producing a pipe and book from his pack. He starts reading quietly.
Oh, Tess wishes she could breathe fire like that.
It has always come in handy.
You know, for as many times as Tess has been referred to as demon child or spawn of demon, Tess would be able to at least breathe fire or ice or electricity.
And it's so yucky over here.
Perhaps we're lucky that you can't.
That is true. Tess has seen the damage that fireballs can do.
Hey, 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 hey. You know, bad breath can be just as toxic as fire, too.
Almost instinctively, Tess like lifts her hand up to her face and like smells her own breath and like gags.
Talanith, you've been wandering in the forest for some time. When you first came through the mirror, you came through the same cabin, and you've been back here a number of times. It seems like no matter what path you take through the forest, you always wind up back here. And once again, um, your search has yielded the same result. It's getting late. You've been at it pretty much all day. But this time, as you approach the cabin, there's strangely a light coming from the window.
Okay. Well, I think my character, Talanith, is going to be very cautious. So slowly approaching, but trying not, to be seen.
Okay. I'd like you to go ahead and roll a stealth.
All right. You're gonna have to remind me.
Oh, yes,
how
I'm so
to-
sorry.
All right, so open up
okay.
your character sheet in the and
So
then
to do that, just go over to your
to the
so
actors
along the
screen.
top you'll see the actors tab. It looks like a little person. Click on that, and you'll see a folder called Player Characters. Just pop that open, and you should see your character there, to
Okay.
Laneth. And
Okay.
click on that.
Got it.
That'll open your character sheet, and then
All
to
right.
roll your stealth check. On the skills menu, kind of in the center there, just click on the word stealth, and it'll ask if you want to roll it normal or with advantage or disadvantage.
Okay. I am looking for skills. Uh,
It'll be under the attributes tab on your character page, all the way to the left.
Oh.
And
Oh,
then
got it,
kind
got it,
of like off center, you'll see a list starting with acrobatics, and you can go all the way down to stealth.
Okay, I found it. All
Excellent.
right, and I clicked on stealth, and
Okay. And it's going to say,
normal, right?
yeah, click on normal.
All right. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's actually not bad.
rolled a
You have a
3.
very high.
Yeah,
So
damn.
you rolled a 3, but you have a +8 modifier to it, so it's actually a 14. That is actually really good.
All right.
Okay. So let me take a quick look through here. Looking at everybody's. Where is that value? Oh, right. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. Yolanthe, you seem to be the only person or the only being who notices the faint or a faint scuffling noise from outside. So, Talanith, do you have like weapons drawn, anything like that?
Yes. Given you know his background, I think that he would definitely have his weapons drawn.
Okay. So on the across the front of the cabin, we have a closed door, um, as well as one window that is that's always open. How do you want to approach the front of this place?
Hmm. Is the front my only option?
No, you could go in. You remember there's also a window at the rear.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go for that.
Okay. Let me get some music going here. This will work. Not really music. So everybody else, you're just kind of talking it up, um, doing your own thing. But Yolanthe, you suddenly become fixed on this scuffling that you hear outside. It's brief and it moves off.
Her ears flick up.
So what would you like to do? Going to
Um,
stay put? Going to go after it?
I'm gonna kind of start sniffling around to see if I smell anything, and twitching my ears around to see if I hear anything.
Okay, go ahead and roll an active perception check. Just a perception check. And do you, as a wolf, do you have keen senses? I feel like you do.
I can't remember. I think it's
Yeah, you have keen hearing and smell.
hearing,
So,
so advantage.
yep, roll with advantage. 19.
Okay. Can I identify where or what?
Yes. So you are able to, um, you are picking up the scent of another entity. There's a strange scent that you are not familiar with, and it seems to be coming from outside.
Is there like a window or a door that I can look through?
There is a window. It is the one that is facing the castle on a cliff. As well, there is a door, although it is currently shut.
Okay, Yolanthi's gonna start kind of doing a low growl and approaching the door kind of in a cautious little slink.
We'll say everybody in the room can probably hear Yolanthi growling. And as you turn to look, you see Yolanthi kind of hunched down, approaching this window. Yolanthi, as you look out, though, nothing appears to be there.
What is it, Lanthy?
Yolanthi presses her nose up against the window, like, trying to like snorf.
Oh no, did Rec fall down the well again? Tess gets up and she's going to approach the window that Yolanthi's looking out. And she's gonna like hold her hands up to like either side of her face and just like almost like she's looking through like goggles. She's gonna like press her face up to the window and be like, "What is it? Is it Scrito? Do you see somebody?"
So, Talanith, you do hear all this. It's rather muffled, but you do hear it. As well, you hear the loud clanking of armor as Valphalin clambers to his feet. And he doesn't draw his weapon, but he keeps his weapon close as he kind of peers into the back room once more, and then convinced that it's all clear in there, he turns back around into the main room. Galanith, what would you like to do?
Everybody's around the window, aren't they?
They're around the front window, not around the back window.
I'm gonna go to the back window.
Okay. So, what do you intend to do there? Are you going to look in? Or are you going to enter the building?
Want to quietly try and get through the window.
Okay. Go ahead and give me another stealth check. I'm just going to check your sheet real quick here.
All right.
I feel like we have some kind of.
Hey, Healthiest, I'm hearing some background noise from you. Can you mute? Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
It was a 7.
Perfect. Okay. So cautiously, you open up the window. It's not locked or anything, so very easy. You open it up and you very quietly step through. Doesn't seem like you've aroused any suspicion from other than out the front.
Yeah. And is this room that I'm in, is it connected, I mean, directly to the room everyone else is in?
Yes, there's a door through which you can see, and it's quite dark in this room. There isn't any kind of lighting other than the the light from the fireplace in the other room that is sort of pouring in the door. So you kind of stick to the shadows as you climb through the room or climb into the room. Um, and as you kind of look through the door, you see several well-armed party members, or several of a well-armed, what looks to be an adventuring party. It's a large dragonborn. He's got a sort of red scales, and he's got horns and looks like tusks that protrude from the top of his mouth. He kind of walks with um, I don't want to say like a hunch. He's kind of he stands up really tall. He's um, uh, sort of a wide frame, but wearing all plate armor. And as he moves around, you hear the ka-thunk, ka-thunk, thunk of the armor. Um, why don't we go through each person in the party, and I'll let you guys describe yourself. Let's go ahead and start with the Infir, if you wouldn't mind.
Um.
I can come back to you if you need me to.
Yeah, real quick.
Okay, no problem. Let's go ahead and go to probably one of the first that you recognize, other than the dragonborn who's standing kind of close to the door, would be the wolf at the window. Yolantha, you want to go ahead and describe your wolf?
Yolanthe, in her current form as a wolf, has a very dark brown fur that's honestly a bit rough looking, like not shiny, very, very kind of scraggly looking, to be honest. Ears are kind of notched a bit. One eye has a huge X-shaped scar over it. And currently she is fixated on the window because she thought she heard a noise.
Misku.
Um,
I can
So
come back to you
Misku-
if you need to. Oh,
yeah. I was actually going to say Misku's going to have her back to the up against the door, the side of the door frame. So she's going to be watching the door in case anyone tries to come in the room. But I can go ahead and describe my character for when he does see her.
absolutely.
So Misku's okay. Misku is a rather tall, muscular brain tiefling. She has pinkish skin, wild gray hair, and she's wearing robes and carrying a large war club.
Be kind of helpful. I guess it doesn't. That's okay. I could have sworn there was a way to do that. Aha! Yes, I can. Yes.
There
Okay.
we go.
So we can. Yep, we can do that.
Oh, that's
as well
yeah,
as
that's helpful.
yeah. I also showed Yolanthe, or we had Yolanthe. There's Yolanthe as well.
Oh, good.
Cool. But I do think it's
Bork,
important
bork.
to kind of have everybody able to describe themselves. So probably seen this a lot, but there's Valphalin, the first the dragonborn that you saw earlier.
Okay.
All right. Tess, you want to go next?
Yee. All right. So Tess is a kind of on the short side compared to everyone else. She's about 5'2", a very, very light purple tiefling that is adorned with a bunch of jewelry on her ears, her horns, her tail. Currently all of her stuff is on the floor, so she's not carrying like her bag or anything like that. But she does have a cape, some really big boots, and even with her back to you, assuming because he's approaching from the other room,
Right.
you can see kind of like very silvery, but like with a very, very light hint of like lavender, like shoulder length, really, really messy hair. And she has her hands currently cupped up against the window, and she's talking rather loud and excitedly, looking outside to see what all is there and to see if Again, Scrito is outside. Once she does turn around and you see her, you'll see basically her eyes have no pupils. They're just very, very bright blue with kind of a darker blue center to them. But yeah, that's it.
Right. So
And
sort of
there is a
along with the wolf, there is a there's like a small weasel. The healthiest, do you want to describe thief?
well, there's no picture for it for right now, but if you can envision like a black weasel that's kind of fey looking. Yeah, I think he has a backpack on him too, but I'm not sure about that. And that's pretty much it. He's just a simple little weasel.
Oh, please let him have a little backpack.
And if you came into the cabin or wherever we're into, wouldn't I be one of the first persons to see this happen?
So far, we've only he's only been detected out the front. He has not been detected coming into the back. So there is a separate
But
room that he has entered.
okay, well, thief wouldn't be. Well, he'd be around the dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dog. That's why
Yolanthi's-
everyone was looking out the front-facing window essentially because
That's
where
right.
they heard the noise.
Yeah, that's where Yolanthi's at right now. So you're right next to Yolanthi. All right. Last but not least, we have Ian Fear. If you want to give just a quick description, that's okay.
Give me a second. Honest- Sorry. All right. So with Ian Fear, you'll notice he's kind of wearing like a fairly fancy dress shirt. He's got on like a nice vest. Like this is definitely does not really look like an adventurer. This looks like someone who basically hired the adventurers. But he has a nice looking cape on. You'll probably notice he has like a crossbow strapped to his back. Kind of like orangish skin. You'll notice probably like some pointed ears. So he's got some kind of like elvish origin or something like that you'll see. The hair, really the hair also is kind of weird because although it's like black, like it kind of looks like it's glowing a little bit because there's a lot of like glittering inside it from like some kind of sparkles, and the eyes, like unlike any you've seen probably would have been, are like orange. They're like a bright orange.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Healthiest, can you mute yourself in between talking? We're getting a lot of background noise.
Sorry.
No problem.
Thank
you, ma'am.
you.
All right. Delana,
Mhm.
what are you up to? So after seeing the whole group, and they're kind of curious about it. It seems like they're focused on the front window at current. And Tess, you mentioned that you were peering through, but there doesn't appear to be anything outside that you can see.
Okay.
I'll let you go ahead and roll a perception check, though.
Me?
Uh, Tess, actually.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, 19.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Tess, you're focused on the front window right now, and you've kind of got your face pressed up against it. There isn't anything very telltale that you can see currently, and you don't seem to detect any sound at all. Um, however, you are kind of um, you are kind of aware of things that are around you and sort of your environment, and you suddenly are um, you're kind of overcome with the sensation that um, there's someone else here. You
Okay.
just don't know where.
She straightens up a little bit, moving her hand down from the window, and her tail starts kind of flicking from side to side, almost like a cat that's like irritated. And she stops and turns around, her ears twitching, and she's gonna listen. Do I
Talanith, do you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do I need to roll another thing, or does Talanith need to do something?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to give Talanith a minute
Okay.
to kind of deal with what's transpired. So, Talanith,
W-
what would you
What's
like to do?
what's all in the room right now? Like as far as um, stationary objects.
Stationary objects. So on the floor in front of the hearth, um, there is sort of a pile of different furs. Um, the room is mostly barren, although there is a small like cooktop or a stove with an oven that's kind of set off to the other side of the room, as well. Um, and you only know this part because you've been in this cabin previously, but across from the window, or the front window, there's a small desk, um, and above that desk hangs a little mirror. That's the same, or not a little mirror. It's like a full size mirror. That's the same one that you came through to get to this place
Okay.
from the rest of the plane of mirrors.
Okay.
In the room
So
that you're currently in, there's a bed, and um, there are like some drawers, like a chest of drawers in here.
okay. Um, I want to throw a dagger at the wall, but not to hit anybody. Clearly not to hit anybody, but just into one of the walls.
Okay, so you're trying to kind of announce your presence, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so just throwing a dagger at the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like you to go ahead and roll the just to kind of see the. So, what wall are you trying to hit? Are you trying to hit close to any of the party members, anything like that, or just kind of one of the barren walls that nobody's close to?
Just one of the barren walls that nobody's close to.
But in the same room with us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like you to go ahead and roll. Are you throwing one of your two daggers that you have on hand?
Yes.
Okay, so if you click on the dagger in your inventory on your character sheet,
Okay.
if you mouse over it, you'll see that the little icon of the dagger turns into a dice. If you click that, it will put a little thing in chat where you can roll an attack, or click on the damage thing to roll damage. Um, so once you click on it, whoop, hold on, so it every time you click, it puts one of these in chat. So if you look back into the chat,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and remove the redundant ones. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's put that in the chat. You have attack and damage, right? You see those buttons on there?
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on the attack one. And this is just to hit the mark on the wall. So, um,
Yeah.
not a very high DC on this one.
Ooh wee.
And naturally, you absolutely nail it. So, uh, everybody in the party, you suddenly hear this thunk and this dagger comes flying through this door and just hits the wall. Val immediately turns around, hand on his weapon. Who goes there?
That should be my question for you.
Interesting. We've not met anyone else in the mirrored planes.
Are you real?
Are you real?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Is Tess
I've been-
real? And Tess immediately starts like kind of touching herself. It's clear that this tiefling is very simple-minded, and she means you no harm.
Yolandi, on the other
What
hand,
is
has started
real?
sniffing around looking for the source.
I've been in this place so long. I don't know if you're a trick of the mind or not.
I see. Perhaps our goals align.
How so?
Well, we've also come here against our will. I'm assuming that by your previous statement, you have as well.
I have. By whose hand have you, or trying to word this, by whose hand brought you here?
That is a rather long story.
Well,
I would
technically
be.
speaking, it would be their own hand, because I did warn them about us being dragged through something.
Do you say that out loud, Ian Fear?
Yeah.
Wait a
He
minute.
does have a point.
Tess is still almost in a panic, feeling her own body, like she's like touching her shoulder blades, practically reaching over to touch her toes. Is Tess real? After seeing
Kind of
after
rolls her
seeing
little
mirror
eyes
version of
and
Tess,
nips Tess's tail with her teeth a little.
is Tess real? After
Tess,
after seeing the copy, Tess is not sure anymore.
Thief is
pretty. Go ahead.
throwing up his hands like,
Tess, I'm
Oh.
pretty sure you're real.
So Talanith can't see this from his side, but Misku, after the knife flew through, is standing on the other side of the doorway with her club raised.
After having calmed down from the whole am I real situation, Tess breathes a sigh of relief, and then seeing assuming we can see Talanith at this point, or is he just like a voice coming out of this room?
Can't
He's
see
just a
yet.
voice coming out of the room.
Okay.
You might be able to make out his figure sort of in the shadows, but you can't see him.
Tess is going to take just 2 steps forward
Toward the room.
toward the room. Yes.
Yolanthe's gonna stick right at Tess's side, still kind of growling a little bit.
And then she's going to, seeing Miscu ready with the club, Tess is going to hold her hand up and say, perhaps we should stand down.
Yes, let us not resort to violence.
It does seem that we are all here for different circumstances, Ian Fear. For one, Tess thought it was a good idea to come through the mirror, so you need to shut your face. For 2,
This kind of. Okay, go ahead.
go on,
Sorry.
go on.
No, go ahead. For
For
two.
for 2, this person sounds like they're also stuck in a similar circumstance. My friend, and Tess means this wholeheartedly. My friend, we're not here to harm you. We're just trying to find a way up the scary castle. And then Tess is going to point toward the mirror, toward the really derelict looking castle.
This is the same castle that you've been trying to get to for a week?
For longer than that, hasn't it been?
You've only been in this particular plane for about a week, but overall you've been in the plane of mirrors, which is kind of the greater like expansive hallways with different rooms with mirrors in them for like I said, some like 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
So each of those mirrors connects to a different plane of existence that you've learned. Sometimes there was a room in like a ruined area, and sometimes it was a room in like a realm of fire. And sometimes it was a forest, or but it seems like every time you went through one, there wasn't really a way out or a way back to the material plane.
Should I roll a perception check for, for Misku?
To know that Misku is there.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
And Miscu, if you want to go ahead and roll an opposing stealth check.
Hey, how long did
Oh, shit.
the stealth thing last? We wait, we'd already took the long rest, didn't we?
Oh,
Not yet.
crap.
Yeah, you have no idea that Miscu is standing there.
Okay. Then I'm going to casually, because from the banter, I feel a little bit more at ease about this party's presence. So I decide to go ahead and casually, walk through the entrance into the room. And at this point, I should go ahead and describe myself. So Talaneth is a drow elf. Um, somewhat short for a drow elf. Not too terribly tall. He has the typical, dark skin, red eyes, and white hair. He doesn't have long white hair. He has short, spiky white hair. Um, you know, uh, dark, clothes, purple cloak, uh, and he looks around at everyone and says, "All right, I think you're safe enough," and pulls out, his dagger from the wall.
But Miscu, now that you've seen Talaneth walk through the door, question mark. What are you doing?
At Tess's suggestion, Miscu throws her club bag over her shoulder and huffs dejectedly. She'll, with her club over her shoulder, she'll take her other hand, thumb and index finger, and kind of cradle her chin and seize him up and down, trying to gauge whether he's worth fighting or not. Does he look very strong from what I can see?
Tess will take this moment to remind Miscu. Miscu, my friend, Tess believes that if this person wanted to hurt us, the dagger would not have landed in the wall.
That is an astute.
I mean,
observation.
we
Yolanthe
don't
is
know
kind
that
of
for certain.
slowly walking up to. I'm sorry. What was the name again?
Talaneth.
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 Talaneth, and
I
kind of
don't
sniffing.
think he's said though yet.
Okay, well, she's just walking up to this stranger and sniffing, kind of still fluffed up.
So this wolf just kind of comes up to you and goes.
Inferior, what were you
Talaneth-
trying to say? Were you trying to say
I'm saying-
something?
I was saying we don't know for certain that he wasn't trying to hurt us. Maybe he's just not as good as skilled as we are.
So you're still on edge about it. And that's normal. But Miscu, as you come into the room and you pass by him, Valphalin shows you both of his hands that he has them clearly off of his weapon.
Talaneth, backs away from the wolf slightly, and says, "My name is Talaneth, Talaneth Nightmoon. I was somehow sent to this place. I've been wandering for 7 years here. I was sent here while I was looking for my brother. But, whatever answers, we seek, I believe they may be in that castle."
Interesting. We were also headed to the castle for answers, as it were.
What do I need to roll to figure out if Tess understands what a drow is? Is it a history thing?
History would be a good option there. You could also just roll a wisdom check. Although history, if you've got the the
Mm-mm.
proficiency in
No,
history,
I'll
I
roll
would go ahead
wisdom.
and roll that.
I'll roll wisdom on that. The
Okay.
Tess is kind of almost uncomfortably so like staring at Talanith, and she's like cocking her head to the side to figure out if she recognizes the race. Despite being surrounded by them, she's still trying to learn her way around the different races in the world, having been so closed off as she was as a child.
You've probably not seen many drow, but you've definitely encountered one or two on your adventures. Namely, there was a caravan previously that you guys helped save that was
Mm-hmm.
composed of drow.
Yeah, Tess vaguely remembers that, but she's trying to connect the dots in her head.
Didn't we also encounter them in our own mirror adventure?
Nope. That was just a.
I think so.
I don't. Well,
Weren't those other tieflings?
The one where we traveled in our sleep
Yeah.
when we
I
traveled
think
into the cave.
I think there was a single drow, and he was the magic shop owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the and there was another drow, and she was responsible for sending you back.
Yeah.
So it's been a handful of times, and Tess is
Yeah,
trying to
only a-
really understand like who and
What's the
what
difference?
Talanith is.
So you're probably not confused about Talanith being an elf, but you seem to have a little bit of confusion over the difference between a drow and an elf that's more like, say, Ianfear.
Okay. Still cocking her head to the side a little bit. Tess will shoot Talanith a beaming smile and say, Talanith? I'm Tess. We both start with T's. Amazing. We're friends already.
Talanith looks slightly confused, but
Tess is always like this.
I see.
She's going to reach her hand toward Talanith in like a handshaking gesture and say, I'm Tess. Nice to meet you.
Talanith pauses for a second and he looks down. Slowly takes his hand back, but then slowly goes ahead and shakes her hand.
Can Tess try to pull him in for like an unexpected hug? Is that like
this
a
a grapple?
strength check?
No,
Or,
Is this a
or-
grapple check?
Yes.
is that
Consent.
Okay, so this is how we're going to play this. Tess, you go ahead and roll a strength check, and Talanith, you're going to go ahead and roll a strength save. So
Strength
you were-
save. All right.
um,
Where is? Oh no! I might as well not even roll.
no. Still roll.
Mightiest
Still
hugs.
roll. We need to know how badly you failed.
Yeah. Where?
Because
where
if you
is...
roll a 1, this will be hilarious.
Oh my god. All right. Which? Do I just
Okay,
do a
so-
public roll?
So go once again to your character sheet, and on the attributes tab over to the left, you'll see strength, dexterity, constitution. Just click on the word strength, and it'll ask if you want to roll an ability check or a saving throw. Go ahead and click on a
it's
saving throw. Mm-hmm. And roll it normal.
Oh.
You rolled a 2.
Yeah.
You rolled a 2.
This little 5'2" tiefling lift him up in the air with a bone
So-
crushing hug.
Yeah, this little tiefling just like immediately pulls you in, and glomp, you are being hugged.
And then Tess, how tall is Talanith, by the way?
Oh.
A guesstimate, if anything.
You're just a rough.
I didn't actually mark that down, did I?
It doesn't look like it.
Is he
Okay.
taller than 5'2"?
He is exactly 5'2".
Oh,
He's
perfect.
he's very short for a drow.
Okay, hugging him tightly, Tess is gonna gently pet the back of his head and say, "Dear Talaneth, we're so happy to have you as part of the family. We will help you find your brother. Tess promises. If you would also help us in return."
Thank you. And it's a deal. Oh, just let me go.
She lets him go.
Oh.
Misku has lost interest in wrestling talent.
That was somehow less creepy than your previous exchanges, Tess.
Tess has no
Yolanthe
idea what you mean.
Yolanthe kind of like circles around behind Talaneth and then just like nose gooses them right up there to try and get a good sniff.
Oh.
Welcome to the party. Are you going to try to avoid this, or well, you're being grappled, so I guess that doesn't really work that way.
Well, no, I'm let go from that. So I'm like, who?
So immediately there's a dog nose in your butt.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question of if we're real or not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock on my
Oh,
head.
He's kind of hoping
He's
that we're
just
not.
knocking on his head.
Definitely, it seems that you're all, in fact, real and very tangible.
I apologize. I am Valphalin Firesong.
You are a dragonborn. I've seen
So I
some of your
am.
kind before.
Have you? I've not seen one of my kind. Not in a very long time. From
Because I think that we discussed that from where Talaneth is from, he's seen other dragonborn before. Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I may have some questions for you on that on that front at some point.
I'll be glad to help with
Otherwise,
what I can.
it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I am honored to have you, well, here.
Talaneth puts up his daggers and says, I am honored as well.
Misku, what are you up to?
Misku's going to go back to putting her back up against the doorway, making sure no one else comes in. But she'll, a little bored now, just pull out her pipe and start puffing on it.
Slowly, this smoke permeates the air. Phelan, seeing you do that, actually follows suit and pulls out his own pipe. Well, it seems that you have us at a disadvantage. You, I assume, know the area at least better than we. Come, let's talk.
Let us what?
Talk.
Oh, talk. I thought you said stall. It's like, huh? Okay. All right. And are there any? Well, you know what? Talaneth is just gonna crouch next to the fire. He's not
There's
much of a cheer.
there are some various like furs and cloth that's laid out around the fire. You've had a tendency to use those either to just kind of like curl up next to the fire or just kind of as a seating. You can kind of pile them up in different ways to make either appropriate.
He's not much of a chair person, so he's just gonna crouch, kind of Spider-Man style, if you will, next to the fire.
It has been quite a long day for us. We were previously on board a vessel headed to Shopabin, and were pulled through the mirror and eventually wound up here. I, for one, could use a good meal. Would you care to join us?
That sounds good. And he says, no, he just says I could go for that as well.
Well, I'll get to work then. Valphalin stands up, pipe still in hand, and trudges over to the stovetop and kind of takes a look around for a few moments before he sets his pack on the floor and starts sifting through it. Yennefer, what are you up to?
Well, since everything else is now calmed down, I mean, Infir is going to still look a little warily at Talanith, but other than that, I think just going to try to grab some shut-eye.
Okay, so Yennefer kind of lays down. He looks pretty tired. Let's see. Where? Ah, okay. So at this point, it is 6:18. Let's go ahead and take our 15-minute break here, and yeah, we'll pick up in 15 minutes.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, and I apologize for the longer break time. I had a little bit of audio issues and needed to restart real quick, but we are back. And before we get back to the scene in the cabin, and hopefully I will have this pulled up correctly. Oh, yeah. Okay. So back on board the Unbroken Trust, Healthius, there comes a knock at your door.
You mean the bag?
Oh, yes, sorry. There comes a knock at the bag. No, there's clearly somebody, there's someone outside calling to you.
Somebody tugs
Okay.
on your bag.
Okay.
Hey.
Whoa. I'm gonna go ahead and
All right, so
activate
I'll
the scene here. So
I'll reach out. I'll reach out of the bag and pull myself out.
let me see.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were on the deck the last time I did that, so I'm actually gonna move
Yeah,
this
because
character over here.
he would be with Antarius because he gave the bag to Antarius. Unless you put the bag down.
Oh, okay. So okay, you should have been with Antarius. My bad. I had that. I kind of set the scene up very quickly, so you probably are going to be over here. There they go. So you so the bag kind of just poops you out, and then you like are back in this room with Antarius here.
What's up?
I apologize for disturbing you, but I thought you'd like to know we've spotted a small skiff making its way from the coast, and it bears the flag of Bunavar.
A small little ship.
That's right.
I need 2 of them.
What? Well, yeah, anyway, if you would come with me out to the deck, we can give them a proper greeting.
Okay.
So he proceeds to unlock one of the doors and moves outside. And as you come out, there's a sort of a really small ship that is pulled up alongside the Unbroken Trust. And
Okay, they've actually come up to the ship.
yeah, they're flying Godberry's colors.
Okay, well that's good. But they just came up to our ship. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
all
They're
right.
flying
Well,
Godberry colors. So
as far as I know, we don't have anything illegal on us. So
so off of the other ship, steps a couple of familiar faces. 3, to be precise, as well as a guard.
Where?
You immediately recognize these guys as, Kimrim, Govin, and the young Darkul.
The kid?
Yep, the kid's here.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't have to mind meld with him. Hey, where have you been? Been looking for you.
Who are you speaking to?
The kid, Cameron, I think.
Oh, Darkul.
The one that was in charge to my care. And I lost
let me
him.
go. I'm going to go ahead and show this to everybody, but here's the character for Darkul. For those of you who are still on the landing page. I know if I know this scene might be black for a lot of people, so if you need to switch back over to the landing page, that's fine. So that's the image of Darkul Godbury. He's kind of a younger sort. He is apparently Govin's son, and as you approach him with your statement, he says, "Well, I apologize for my deception. I was worried about my dad, so I broke away when y'all weren't looking and made my way out to follow them. I finally did catch up with them." A second here. I just wanted to make sure that they were safe.
Well, you could
Govin.
have just came and talked to me.
Govin kind of rolling his eyes goes, "You need to put some more trust in your father, son. You know we were safe. But I suppose I do admire your courage at that." Kimrim smiles at you. "Elpheus, it's been a long time."
Why'd you run away?
As you recall, Kimrim and... Or wait, are you talking to Darkul still? Darkul is the kid. Kimrim is... Kimrim is this character right here. She is the...
I can't see anything. My game's not here.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I see you're not connected anymore. Either way, Kimrim is the dwarven expedition leader and archaeologist. She was the one that led the expedition to Din Therum. So at this point, she approaches you with, like I said, with a smile and an outstretched hand, and she says, "Elpheus, it's been a long time."
Hasn't it? I'll shake the hand, yes.
So
Because
she shakes your hand. She
Okay.
kind of looks over at Antarius and looks at you and says, I have some news. Is there somewhere a bit more private we could discuss it?" And
Please.
yes,
Let's go
Antarius
back to
says,
the
"We
room
can-"
we were just in.
Agreed. Let's use my quarters. And all of the everybody kind of piles in there. Let me go ahead and shut the door, kind of space everybody out real quick. Perfect. Antarius sits down at the desk, and Kimrim begins to explain. "I believe last we saw each other, we were departing with the House Drac liaison, who had taken us into custody, as it were. And we went to go speak with Emperor Craven. Much to my surprise, there wasn't very much to these talks. They did inquire about the documents that we found there, but I do assure you those documents are safe. We insisted to them that they were they were left at the ruin when, as you know, we left them with Darkul here. That's right, says Govin, and he sort of crosses his arms and looks kind of sharply at his son. You could have put this whole mission in jeopardy had you shown up in that courtroom or in that court while we were discussing things with the Emperor. But I think I've given you enough of a lashing about that. Kimram continues. Well, those talks went rather smoothly. The Emperor seemed more concerned with another expedition going to the ruin, which he's funding, much to my surprise, as he has not been very vocal in his support to our cause previously. The new expedition will be to slay the undead and scour the ruin for more documents about the missing house Balfour. It seems he is as interested as we in preserving dwarven history. Govin once again kind of crosses his arms, looks down at the floor, and you hear him kind of, you got to be pretty gullible to buy. There's got to be more to it. Be that as it may, I don't believe we should look a gift horse in the mouth. Antarius appears thoughtful for a moment. Well, despite everything, I'm just glad to see you all arriving safe. I hope that you didn't have too much trouble finding the ship.
The ship was easy.
Where,
Yes.
as Kimram is kind of looking around, where's the rest of where are the heroes of Bunavar?
They're here, not here.
Come again?
Do you need to speak with them?
Does this have to do with that mirror business?
Yes.
I have to say that kind of troubles me.
Why so?
Are they
Is it anything I
safe?
should be aware of? As far as right now, they are.
Oh, I mean, nothing but that mirror gives me the heebie-jeebies. Crossing
Yeah.
through planes of existence and whatnot. It's not natural.
Nope.
But you can vouch for their safety then.
I'm there. I'm with them.
Wait. You're there with them, but you're right. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to ask any more questions. You magic types are confusing.
Well, sometimes magic is just like a hammer. And you know how many civilizations wouldn't have survived without the hammer?
Very true, says Kimrim. Well, at any rate, we've come to join your crew, make our way to Shopabin, and finish our mission. Oh, you'll hear nothing from me on that, says Antarius. Welcome
All right.
aboard. This is the Unbroken Trust.
We are currently going somewhere. I'm not exactly sure on the details.
To Shopabin. You guys are headed to Shopabin.
We're going to Shopavin.
There's a couple of reasons that the ship is headed there. So the first and foremost was to bring the mirror there, so that it can be studied further by Ian Fear and yourself. And the second piece of that was to bring the documents held by Darkul over to Shopabin for safekeeping away from the Emperor
Okay,
and
so go.
the other Drac people that want to get their hands on it.
So this is Govin, right? Like Govin.
Yeah, that's right. And Govin's picture
So
is...
he just got released, basically. Free
Yep,
range.
Govin and Kemrim seem to have gotten released.
Okay, so that's something that I'll probably have to relay to the party.
Is there anything... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that concludes our business for now, right?
Sure,
I'm gonna dive into the bag.
Just like right in front of everybody, you're just gonna like whoa, into the bag.
Yeah.
Okay. You do so. I'm gonna go ahead and reactivate the scene here. Let me go ahead and swap the music up. Well. Once you're into the bag, I assume that you're going to go back into your ritual to link with your with Thief.
With Thief, yes.
Okay. Cool. So, back to the cabin scene here. So Valphalin starts to kind of throw ingredients at the range top, and you start to hear that very pleasant sizzle of the stovetop as he continues cooking. Not sure quite what he's making at this point, but it definitely smells delicious. All right, so let's go ahead and start kind of going around here. Let's begin with Talanith. You said you had taken a seat at the fire, yeah?
Yes. So Talanith right now is just kind of just crouched, staring at the flame and tossing one of his daggers up and down.
Okay. So Val's over cooking right now. Miscu, what are you up to?
Misku's hanging out by the window, taking puffs of smoke and just peering around outside to see if there's any movement.
Go ahead and roll a perception check for me, if you would. Feel pretty confident in how well you have been observing the outside, and there doesn't appear to be any movement whatsoever. Not even a bird, like in the sky in this area. It's kind of chilling, actually. Usually you're looking out over the forest and you see, occasional bird, you hear howls of wolves, things like that. Here, nothing. It is completely dead silent the entire time. All that you can hear is the crackle of the fire and the sizzle of the range top. Oh, and the occasional burning of the weed that's in your pipe.
Misku will clutch her club anxiously and just continue to vigilantly stare out the window.
Kind of a really weird and off-putting place. Just completely silent. Not even the wind, you know? Ian Fear, I believe you said you were just kind of laying near the fire, kind of nodding off, yeah?
Yeah, essentially he's gonna sort of be like relaxed in terms of like, in maybe not exactly resting, but just sort of just kind of leaning back and just keeping his ears to listen.
Lana's probably looking over at Ian Fear. You notice this small leather-bound book that he kind of tends to keep in front of him. It has some kind of writing on the front that I don't think. Let me see if you have the appropriate. No, you don't. It has some kind of runes on the front that you don't recognize. Yolanthe, what are you up to?
Yolanthe is, oh goodness, excuse me. Yolanthe is kind of curled up by the fire, staring at I'm sorry, I forgot how to say it.
Talaneth?
Talanith, sorry. She's just kind of curled up. She's laying down, but definitely like keeping watch on this new person or new thing.
Okay. Okay, so kind of curled up by the fire, I assume.
Yeah, but just like not sleeping, like just watching with them
If you've
creepy
ever
wolf
played
eyes.
Okami, just imagine like how she kind of like curls up to fall asleep.
And she does the yawn that's like, oh.
Yep.
Now she's pretty alert. She's watching the dagger move very carefully.
And Thief, what is Thief up to?
Am I here?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking to Lanty.
So Yolanthe, while you're trying to, or while you're kind of resting and watching, watching Talanith, you've got this little weasel in your ear. What are you saying?
That is actually going to be in a message.
Okay, you're gonna message Yolanthe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that brings us to Tess. What are you up to? Yeah, I did mess you.
First off, is anyone's pipe still lit? Anyone still smoking?
Yes.
Miscu is?
Yep.
Okay. Tess is going to approach Miscu and reach out for the pipe and say, "Can Tess please partake?"
Misku palms her pipe and hands it mouthpiece first, nodding to Tess.
So assuming, is this pipe still like cherried? Like if Tess
Yeah.
breathes in, it'll light up? Okay. So while taking a hit from this pipe, Tess is going to use the cherry to light a piece of incense that she had grabbed from her bag. So she takes a big puff. Whew. Miscu, this is some strong stuff. Tess thanks you.
Misku chuckles. Oh,
No, go ahead.
Misku chuckles and nods, taking it back. Go ahead.
So now with the incense lit, Tess is going to head toward the back room and say, please excuse Tess while she does her daily prayer. And when she enters that room, Let me find it. I would like to cast divination.
Okay.
So this essentially is Tess, um, not so much kneeling, but just like sitting on both of her knees, like on the floor. And she's going to take a piece of the diseased corpse flesh from her bag, and she's going to grind it up and lay it out onto the floor in the shape of the, it's like a scale, kind of like if any of you guys are familiar with like the Egyptian Anubis scale where he like weighs your soul. But she's
Mhm.
gonna draw out like a very like rudimentary like scale using the corpse flesh. And then she's going to use the incense to light one end of the ground up corpse flesh to create kind of a smoke. And then she's going to cut her hand and drop some tiefling blood on top of it to get in contact with either her god Kellenvor or one of Kellenvor's servants. She's not sure yet because she's kind of new at doing this. And while doing so, she's going to ask if climbing the derelict tower will help cure the spreading plague in their own realm. Like, will that find us the answers that we seek? And she's just gonna ponder on that and pray for a while.
Okay. See.
And feel free to take your time on this. She's gonna be kind of concentrating on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Let's see. So the ritual time on this, I think rituals by their under normal circumstances are around 10 minutes. Which actually works out pretty much perfectly because, Val's making food. That usually takes, a little while. So likely by the time you finish this ritual, the food will be ready and you'll be good to go from there. Um, so I'll come back to you on that. For the time being, Valphalin kind of looks up from his cooking and um, he says, "So, Taladith, you mentioned you were sent here while looking for your brother, I believe. Is that correct?"
Correct. My brother was presumed dead, but I've, discovered new leads on how to find him. But these leads, unfortunately, led me here.
Interesting. Oh, it's quite a story. I will recant the tale, but let me finish my cooking that I'm focused on. In the meantime, I'm interested to hear more about. You said you've been here for quite some time.
7 years.
My, we've only been here a day, and I can only imagine the hardships that you've faced.
Telias just stays silent. Says a dot 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 dot.
I'll not press for details, of course.
Dot 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 dot.
What is it that drove you to seek out this castle? And he kind of gestures toward the window, or kind of looks toward the window.
It seems to be the only thing of relevance here. Sticks out.
That's what we discerned as well. Though, when we began our dealings, whoop, and he kind of like almost drops an egg on the floor. Oh, anyway, as we, when we first began encountering the mirrors in the material plane, one such mirror brought forth a Kenku named Scriteau, whom Tess formed a friendship with. He told us of a lady within the mirror, whom perhaps has he and his companions hostage. We don't have many details, but we're hoping approaching this. Well, we saw Ian Fear saw this Kenku on the other side of the mirror before we stepped through, and that brought us here. I wonder, have you seen such a being in your travels here?
I don't believe that I have. But, whatever's in that castle, I'll be more than glad to help you.
And we would be glad for it. Balphalin continues cooking for a time. Tess, after a while,
I forgot to ask. Sorry.
Oh.
During the ritual, she cut her hand open with her tiefling teeths. How much damage does that do? What do I need to roll for that?
that would be 1d4 damage.
Okay.
Sorry. So 3 damage.
Okay. And then she drops her little tiefling blood down and does her little ritual, and her eyes begin to glow like a very, very bright, icy blue.
In sort of the echoey way that you heard the previously the voice in your head, you now hear, well, if it isn't my favorite troublemaker. I'm sorry, did that all come through?
A little bit. It cut off kind of at the end.
You hear a, well, if it isn't my favorite troublemaker.
And Tess.
And you come to me with a question, I see, but you don't appear to be in a place that I have much familiarity with.
All Tess wants to know is whether climbing that creepy tower will be beneficial.
There's a pause. And what benefit do you wish to glean from climbing the tower?
Thinking really hard on this, Tess is weighing whether she wants to know more about the plague situation, or if she wants to know the situation of what happened with Talanith's brother. If any party members want to cast their vote now, I suggest you do.
Which one are we looking for, guys? We're looking for answers about Talanith, or are we more interested in, I guess, getting back to the material plane? Talanith?
Okay, one for Talanith. How's everyone else feeling?
You're asking out of character, right?
Yeah, I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking out of character. Tess is in a different room right now. I'm just I'm making sure that Tess's choices are aligning with the rest of the
The
group
party.
here.
Yeah, the party. That's good. That's good. Um, and the choices between finding out about the disease or something about the mirrors.
Or about Talanis' brother and what happened to him. So there is a
Oh, gotcha.
possibility that the plague may not have anything to do with the mirror realm. So we run that risk right there versus we made a promise to Talanith to help him find his brother. And he's been stuck in here for, Talanith has been stuck in here for 7 years.
Versus our 2 months of traveling for this finding an answer thing.
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be gracious enough to say that the finding of the brother would be more important.
Okay. Miscu, how you feeling about it?
I'm down with helping with the brother stuff.
Ian Fear, what say you?
I mean, I think my focus would still be towards the this curse thing, this plague.
Okay.
Fair.
That's
fair.
fair, yeah.
Tess, you sort of reach out with your mind at this point, feeling just a moment of indecisiveness about your choice, and but you feel that the most pressing concern to you is the immediate concern of Talanis' brother, and so you pose your question as such. To which, whatever this being is on the other side of your open communication, your open ritual, says, "Hmm,
Hello?
I'm unsure about what this Talanith's goal specifically is, but I can tell you this. If you find your way to the top of that tower and into the fortress at the top, you will find your way back into my sight.
Well,
Whether that is
that was not exactly the answer Tess was looking for, but Tess thanks you for your time and your consideration.
whether that's helpful for your friend, I suppose that has yet to be seen. I think so. But I do have a lot of paperwork to do, you understand.
Tess appreciates your time and your patience. Thank you.
Oh, and do take care.
You as well. Thank you.
Don't die. And with that, the ritual is concluded. There's a slight breeze that sort of blows the corpse dust around and scatters it.
And her drops of blood probably
Yes.
absorbed by the
gonna-
dusty sand.
Oh yeah. And no sooner is the ritual concluded than you hear Val Phelan from the other room. I hope you all are hungry. I made quite a bit.
Hmm.
Gonna do a quick die roll. Perfect. Okay. So Val Phelan On this sort of counter, he starts laying out these big serving plates. There is a um, um, there are like eggs and these slices of some meat, and there are some seared vegetables that are all on these different plates. Please help yourselves. And he proceeds to um, walk toward the fire once more, lighting up his pipe and taking a long puff. And these once again these plumes of smoke just billow from his nostrils. Is anybody getting food?
I was giving other people a chance to speak up before I continue to.
Talanith gets up and sticks a couple of vegetables onto his dagger and returns over next to the fire.
Alrighty. So you just pick up some of the vegetables.
Yeah.
They are.
We'll
go
just eat. Thief will just kind of scavenge through everything and kind of grab, nibble on the here and there until he's content.
Yolanthe probably, Val probably tosses you some of the meat that he's cooked.
Yeah, Yolanthe will gobble up whatever is given down towards her.
Biscuit?
Miska will make a plate more or less and go back to the window, keeping watch.
And Tess.
After cutting her hand open for her prayer, she doesn't so much have any like bandages around her, but she tends to use her cape, and she wraps her cape around her hand. That's why her cape kind of has like little blood stains at the bottom. It's obvious there's like one part. She always cuts her left hand open, so it's like the left side of her cape that has the blood stains on it. So she has it wrapped around her hand. And she comes out practically drooling. Ooh, Tessa's starving.
Thief will probably like shove some like chicken leg right in front of her.
Oh, thank you, weasel friend.
Are you okay then? Val kind of gestures at your hand.
Oh yes, it will scab over almost immediately. Tess heals very quickly. Tess was doing her prayer, and when we're all suited up and ready and well rested, we should definitely head to the creepy tower. And she points out the window toward the looming tower in the distance. Tess believes that we will find our answers about our friend's brother
Once again, the tower.
if we head that way. The problem may be more so, how do we climb it? But that's more for a discussion after we're done eating and resting.
Talanith, have you had any luck approaching the base of the structure?
So far, not yet.
Still not loading for me.
Interesting. Might need to reload.
No, I think I got it.
Okay. I promised you a story. One of our own encounters with this mirror. It is quite a tale. After we met, this band and I, we set out along with Kimrim Godbury and Govin Godbury on an expedition to a dwarven ruin called Din Therum. It was known to be the most ancient ruin yet discovered. Therein, we found many documents, notably those detailing a dwarven house that had been previously unheard of. Further, within the ruin, we found a mirror and a journal detailing the owner of the mirror, who was a powerful member of House Drac. He was involved in some summoning of a devil, and some bargain had taken place, one which went south for all parties involved. The devil being bound to a tree, and the inhabitants of the city, the ruin, were turned to the undead. When we approached this mirror, a Kenku came through, the same one that I mentioned previously. And in our dealings with him, we learned that he may be being held captive, perhaps, by this lady in the mirror. Previous to our expedition, we had a sort of complicated experience. It's hard for me to understand exactly what happened, but we all found ourselves in a strange version of our future, one in which a disease had ravaged the land, one in which magic users were hunted down and slaughtered. In our dealings there, we found that we had been taken there through the plane of mirrors somehow, magically, and in our own time, the disease had been spread, and those events were set into motion. And when we were sent back to our own time, we were instructed to locate the mirror that connects the plane, destroy it from the other side, find another way through, and also destroy that mirror. Which is what brings us here. The circumstances of our arrival are somewhat complicated, but that is the gist of things.
Little did we know, there are multiple mirrors.
Many. I'm curious about your brother. Is he missing?
I once thought he was dead, but the leads that I've come across seem to indicate otherwise.
And your journey to find your brother brought you to the plane of mirrors. Do you believe that he's here?
I don't believe so. I believe that I was stumbling upon something that I shouldn't have, or whoever sent me here deemed I shouldn't have.
Interesting.
In other
How is
words,
it
I was digging too deep.
curious? Where do you hail from originally?
Okay, out of character, I cannot remember the name of the place.
It is Amajokia.
That's
And
right.
no sooner do you does that word cross your lips as Valphalen's eyes become wide? My, uh, then we are from we are from similar origins.
It would seem so.
I was found in Amajokia and committed to the monastery there as an orphan.
Hmm. That's interesting that our paths should cross now.
If I may be so bold as to ask, how did you come into the mirrored planes?
I was sent to inquire or question. Oh, I'm sorry, out of character again. What is that one NPC's name?
One moment. The NPC that you were after is called Muznir Drak or Muznir Drak.
Okay, Musnir. I was sent, to question Musnir Drak, and it seems that he did not want to be questioned, thus my being here.
Intriguing. So you were sent into the mirrored planes against your will,
Correct.
and you've been lost there for 7 years.
Yes. It has been a trial.
Pardon Tess for being so forthcoming, but question, Ms. Neardrak? What were your questions?
It was told to me by a very unsavory character from my parts that he knew where my brother was.
So this Drak probably knew what happened to your brother, but did not want to disclose details and ended up sending you through the mirror? Is that correct?
That would seem so. That's my being here.
These damn Draks.
It does seem as though every time there is some ill afoot, there is always a Drak involved in some way. It is concerning.
This family is definitely running amok.
Hmm. Well, while this warrants additional investigation, we should focus on the task at hand. As
Get
you,
to the top of that tower.
indeed, as you eat of this food that Balphalin has made, um, it's actually very delicious, and um, it seems to be more filling than you're accustomed to with dishes. You find yourself eating a lot less of it, but feeling quite full. Um, yeah, okay, quite tasty.
Tess yawns after gobbling up her entire meal. If you would please excuse Tess. Tess is due for a very long nap. And she's going to... We still have a fire going in the cabin, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a fire in the hearth.
Almost cat-like. She's going to approach the hearth and lay down in front of it, like on her side. She's gonna curl her tail up over her hip, and she's gonna like hug her tail and use her bag as a pillow. But before she falls asleep, she's going to pull her mother's skull out from the bag, and she's going to grasp it tightly, almost like a stuffed animal, to her chest, while also hugging her tail. And she's gonna fall asleep.
So Telanith, you just see Tess pull out this this random skull and like cradles it like it's and curls up with it to fall asleep.
Talanith raises an eyebrow, but doesn't pay too much attention to it.
Balphalin
Because
notices you, kind of raise and like cock an eyebrow to it, and you see he's kind of like taking off his scabbard, and he's like leaning it up against the wall with his shield, and he goes, "Ah, yes, she's always like this."
I'm surprised you weren't like, oh, don't worry, that's her mom.
That's very creepy.
Talanith just, like I said, he just raises his eyebrow and then continues looking at the fire, eating his vegetables on his dagger that were stuck onto his dagger.
Balphalin has started to doff his plate mail. He's kind of taking it off plate at a time and setting it in the corner with the rest of his things. He dog's being ridiculous in the background. He kind of once he's kind of has the majority of his or he has all of his armor off. It takes him quite a while, probably about 5-10 minutes. He from his the rest of his belongings, he pulls out a small keg and taps it into a mug, kind of a small cup, and can I interest anyone in an ale?
Yolanthe kind of has been keeping an eye on this whole conversation, finally decides that everything's cool. So she stands up and shakes her head and then does the little glowing eye, glowing green spot on her chest fur and starts to change back to her elf form.
So Talanith, you watch as this happens.
Okay. Raises an eyebrow again.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. She kind of smooths down her hair just a little bit and kind of adjusts her shirt and kind of tries to make sure that she still looks like she kind of looks at her hands a little weirdly, and then she kind of starts to flex her fingers a little bit, and then she reaches down to pick up Thief and carries him kind of cradled in her arms over to where Val is and takes a seat.
Val pushes the mug toward, or the cup toward Yolanthe.
Real
She
quick,
take-
about half asleep, Tess is gonna raise her hand and say, "Somebody please bring Tess some ale."
Val walks one over to you. Talanith, what you were saying?
Oh, no, nothing.
I think it was Yolanthe that was still talking. I'm sorry.
Yolanthe, go ahead.
She takes the ale in one hand and kind of is petting Thief and with the other and says, well, we're on the subject of the Godberries. It seems our weasel friend has let us know that they're actually on the ship.
Interesting. I don't remember. Do we actually know that that's Healthiest?
I think
Or is
so.
this just some random?
I know. I don't know if.
I think he
I
had
don't remember if I
whispered.
tell-
I think he had
No,
whispered to
it
Yolanthe,
only-
and she told
Yeah.
us last session.
Well, only Lilanthe really knows, but Lilanthe told the rest of the party.
Oh, okay. Cool. This is great news. I'm happy to hear that they're safe. I wish that we could have
It
been
seems
present
there
for
was
their
a
arrival.
mistrial.
Interesting. How much do you know?
She kind of shrugs and says, Not a lot as of yet, but I'm sure Healthiest will keep us posted so long as we have our furry little friend here.
I see. And the weasel is not healthiest, but is healthiest.
She kind of smirks and says, "No, I'm afraid the only one what can turn into other animals is me. This is I believe they call it a familiar."
In other words, I should not give the weasel some ale.
She kind of looks down at the weasel for a moment and is kind of like, "I don't suppose you couldn't."
Can
So-
weasels have ale? I'm not sure. if
So
weasels
when
have
she
ale.
says the word familiar, Ian Fear is going to kind of perk up and go, it's funny because I may have seen a weasel or two in my time, but I have not recognized this kind of behavior in familiars myself.
So you're saying that I should give the weasel some ale?
Tess does not feel like healing any weasels. We should not be giving weasels any alcohol. Tess will not waste any energy.
While everybody's talking, Yolanthe has been letting Thief drink out of her mug the whole time. And then
Thief, go ahead and roll a
very
constitution. Go ahead and roll a constitution check.
slowly pulls it away and starts drinking it, looking around like no one saw.
Did you say roll Constitution check?
Yes, I
thief.
did. Yep, for Thief.
Oh dear.
Dun, dun, dun. Hang on one moment. Constitution. Boom. What do you want me to do? Saving or ability? No, saving throw. Normal. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's made of some pretty stern stuff.
Well, he is made of some pretty stern stuff. Thief has had enough alcohol at this point to kind of get a little tipsy.
Oops.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Does this do anything with the connection?
Does it?
No, although it's likely that if you do communicate through the weasel any further, your words may be a little bit slurred.
Talanith is just sitting there, raises his eyebrow yet again.
Talanith has seen some shit. He's like, I don't even
I've
know
been
what
here
an
for 7
appropriate reaction
fucking
is.
years.
He's like, wow, I ended up with a bunch of idiots. Goodness.
I have high hopes in finding my brother.
Val looks thoughtful for a moment, Yolanthe, and says, "Why, Yolanthe, we've had nary a moment to speak since you were discovered to be on board the Unbroken Trust.
Yeah, we've been a bit busy.
I'm curious, what convinced you to rejoin our band?"
Well, I actually never left. She kind of shrugs. I wanted to go back to what I was doing, but, well, you might think this is a bit weird. I had a dream. Lanwillen told me to, well, she told me where my path needed to take me, and it just happened to be with you guys. But I didn't really know how to, well, it just sounded a bit strange, and I didn't really know any of you very well, so I kept kind of at a distance.
I see.
You may have noticed there was a lot more rats and cats following you for a while.
Definitely rats. Seemed like there were
What are you
rats everywhere
saying?
for a time.
The thief being all offended.
Well, I can imagine how it would seem like something that would sound odd to us, but considering we have a friend here who apparently speaks with someone who also speaks back to them to convince them to go into mirrors, it's not all that odd.
Well, at least Lanthi's god is a lot more communicative. I just get very vague answers.
I
And the very casual don't die.
Yolanthe, Yolanthe kind of shrugs and says, "Well, my soul is technically bound to a god. I guess the connection's stronger that way."
Tess is beginning to suspect as much, but perhaps Tess's god is more like a very stubborn father figure.
Oh my.
I don't deign, or I won't feign to claim that I understand the gods very much. I've not a relationship with any deity. However, I believe this is where the captain would typically say the gods work in mysterious ways.
So in a way, Captain Antarius is almost like a demigod to you, Val.
Hmm.
I'm
Really?
not sure I would give him that much prestige, but to be honest, I hardly understand such
Ooh.
things.
Tess is gonna tell Antarius you said that. She's clearly under the influence of a little bit of ale while she's trying to drift off to sleep.
He looks curious for a second and he says, well, I would think that Antarius would find that a most logical response. I must admit, I do see him as some sort of a father figure at times. He is very wise and he is always very kind, and we do owe each other our lives.
Is he anything like your father?
I'm afraid I can't answer that question, as I was discovered not knowing any of my parents. Likely the closest thing to a father that I grew up with would have been one of the monks at the monastery.
Oh, Tess apologizes. That was an overstep on Tess's part.
I am not offended. It is simply the way it is.
For what it is worth, Tess does not know Tess's father.
Then we are alike in that manner.
So, Antarius' father.
What?
Because you said Antarius was a father. Oh, never mind.
Ooh, Antarius, daddy.
Daddy.
I love the one.
What?
Talanus once again, raises his eyebrow, but then stares right back at the fire.
I was found in Amajokia, you see. I had hatched in a cave, from what I understand. A small humanoid dragon. I'm still confused on how that works, but they didn't know where my parents were or the circumstances regarding how I got there. But I was committed to the monastery in Amajokia, the monastery of Landwillen. So while I did grow up with an understanding of how, or well, a rough understanding at least, how these things work, I only have a book knowledge of them. It doesn't much go any deeper than that with me.
Tess is still obviously puzzled and trying to do the math on how a dragon and a human would. Yeah.
Yeah, these are probably things that Val Phelan has sat there and thought about too. Maybe drawn pictures of, posted them on like social media. What's Misku up to?
Miscu's now with her back against the. She's sitting with her back against the wall underneath the windowsill. So she's just puffing away at her pipe, listening for anything outside, but keeping an eye on the conversation going on.
Roll a perception check once more. At about the time that you first received your plate of food and returned back to the window, just a moment, you swear you saw light inside that castle. But just as quick as it was there, gone.
There's a lie.
Over at the Frankenstein place. There's a lie. Okay, we're not gonna. Valphalin does not break into song. Well, guys, I think that's gonna bring us a little bit to a close here.
Wait, before we do that, Tess is gonna fall asleep. I'm going to initiate my long rest here.
Yep. So we're all taking a long rest at this point. At least those who need a long rest. I know that that most elfkind don't require that. So probably who. Firstly, who's taking the first look out?
Miscu will take it since she's already up.
Okay.
Yolantha will take over from there.
I'll
Okay.
take over after she falls asleep. Or he,
Okay. So I would like everyone to go ahead and roll. Whoops, where did I put it? Sorry, a moment. Where the hell did I put that? Ah, yes. Everybody, please roll a perception check.
Oh. Oh, what? What? Somebody's knocked mine.
Yikes.
It's like Beyblades, but digital dice.
Somebody knocked mine into a 20.
Yeah, you can actually click on the dice after they're on the table and like mess around with them on your screen, which is kind of neat. But yeah, it only records the first, like the initial roll. So even if they do get knocked around, it doesn't re-record the number, which is kind of handy. Okay, so I'm seeing rolls for Tess, Talanith, Thief, Miscu, Yolanthe, Infear.
Oh shit, you can.
Yep, that's right.
Why would you ever do this?
Initiate everyone playing with their dice.
I don't see no dice. No dice. Nope, no dice.
Okay, so for Tess, actually, yeah, Tess, you locked in already. So we'll go ahead and say, actually, it's going to be Ian Fear. You're going to go ahead and input a short rest. Everybody else inputs a long rest.
Is there something I
So
need
the
to
thing
do for that?
is I think a couple of us had actually had put in the long rest at the end of the last session.
Yeah, that's fine. We're putting in another one, so go ahead and put in the long rest, or put in a short rest here, and yeah, everybody else put in a long rest. I'll explain why in just a few moments, because we have a couple of other things to do.
Oh yeah, I need a long rest for sure. I only have 1 hit point.
Okay, so explaining the rest situation here. So if you go to your character sheet, underneath the blank for your hit dice along the top, you'll see S rest and L rest buttons. Go ahead and click the L rest for a long rest.
Okay, got it.
and that will automatically do all the work needed to reset your reset any skill points that you have, as well as resetting any spell points that you that you would be getting back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thief doesn't rest. I don't think he rests.
That's fine. That's totally fine. That also could act as a second lookout. Okay, so everybody who consumed Val Phelan's food, which is everybody, please go ahead and roll an additional, if you need it. Go ahead and roll an additional. Is it 1d8? Let me just double check. Yes, it is an additional 1d8 hit points, and add them to your hit point pool, up to your maximum, of course. So if you are still recovering any damage, this will add to your healing for the night.
I don't think that applies to me since I.
Yeah, you haven't taken it. If you haven't taken any damage, that's a little bit different story. But if if you
Okay.
have any damage from previous sessions, this is adding to the healing on that. Okay, and with all of that out of the way, for those of you who rolled, a higher than a 10, the silence of your surroundings, the warmth of your sleeping bag, and/or just your surroundings in general, and the security of the cabin all lend to a restful sleep. However, you awaken to the same darkness from which you departed the evening prior. Everybody who fails this check, so Ian Fear, the air in the valley is forebodingly still and thin, and the unfamiliarity of your surroundings tightly entwines your chest, and you stir heavily, often waking from your slumber to reassert yourself in your environment. There is an otherworldly quality about this place, as if it exists itself outside of place or outside of time. So, in a nutshell, you didn't get a good night's sleep. You were
You're
Um,
tossing and turning all night.
kept up with anxiety.
Mood.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to a close for tonight's session. Our next session will be in 2 weeks. Actually, we do need to discuss that because
We've got holidays
that,
coming up.
yeah, we have
Oh, yeah.
holidays and all different types of things coming up. So um, keep an eye out, everybody here on the new Dalancia Discord channel, and we will. I'll have some updates there in the coming week. And we'll go back and forth about that. And if you have any concerns or anything, please feel free to DM me as usual. Otherwise, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in today, and I hope that you enjoyed the session, because I definitely did. Again, welcome to Laneth to the table, and we are so happy to have you.
Woohoo!
Woo! Yay!
Tick.
But,
Glad to be here.
and as always, I'm VGpunx, your most gracious DM and party, and we are signing off. Keep a song in your heart.
Fireball.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.